Hey, what's up guys? So we're going to be taking a look at some of the new Awakened Possessed cards. So basically stronger variants of the familiar Possessed cards that we are familiar with, aka the Spirit Charmers. Anyways, let's go and take a look at the first card, which is going to be the Awakened Possessed Archfiend Reaper of Nefariousness, which is going to be Earth Level 5 Beast effect with 2,000 attack and 200 defense points. And it says you can only use each of this card's name's second and third effects once per turn. The first effect is you could special summon this card from your hand or deck by sending one face-up spellcaster monster and one face-up level 4 or lower earth monster you control to the graveyard. The second effect is when this card is special summoned by its first effect, you get to special summon one level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard, but its effects are negated. The third effect is if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to add one spiritual earth art or one possessed spell / trap card from your deck to your hand. And for those of you guys that don't remember what the heck the earth one does, it's kind of like a reborn for them. So with the Earth card over here, it lets you tribute a Earth monster to special one level 4 or lower Earth monster from your graveyard, except for the tributed monster. So it can kind of let you dodge certain things, but at the end of the day, it's just going to bring back another card, which maybe you can use to go ahead and facilitate the combo and go for it again, then resummon the extra card eventually. Unfortunately, the second effect, though, it only has its effect once per turn, and it has to be special summoned by the first part of the effect to get that extra effect, so it's kind of nerfed in that sense already. But moving on to the next one, which is the Great Inari Fire. It is going to be a level 5 fire with 2,000 attack, 200 defense points, and it is going to be a pyro monster. And anyways, it says you can only use each of this card's second and third effects once per turn. The first effect is you can just special summon this card from your hand or deck by sending one face-up spellcaster monster and one face-up level 4 or lower fire monster you control to the graveyard. The second effect is when this card is special summoned by its first effect, choose one monster your opponent controls and inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack, which actually could be pretty good. There might be some type of cheese that you can do if you give your opponent something that's insane and just burn them for game at the very end maybe. But nonetheless, we'll see where this goes. And the third effect is if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to add one spiritual fire or one possessed spell / trap card from your deck to your hand. And the spiritual fire art, for those of you guys that are wondering, it just does some burn damage. You get to tribute a fire monster, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to tribute our opponent's stuff. The water one is actually one of the best, and I think it's the only one that ever really saw into play, and it was like, I want to say during like a Mermail-ish era. But Spiritual Water Art, the reason why it was good, you just tribute a water, and you'd be able to go ahead and select one card from your opponent's hand and just send it to the graveyard. It usually was used with Gen X Undine, which was obviously Mermails. Like the older build of Mermails did play. At some point, some people were attacking this, especially if you were able to go first. It's just like, again, a Pointer of the Red Lotus, but you could get rid of like anything. Next up, though, we have Teamwork of the Possessed. So this is going to be a trap card that says you can only use one of this card's first and second effects per turn only once that turn. So the first effect is to special summon a spellcaster monster with 1,500 defense from your hand or graveyard in face-up attack position or face-down defense position. Also, if there are two or more a different attribute amongst monsters you control, you get to destroy one face-up card on the field. The second effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a possessed continuous spell / trap card in your graveyard, and place that card face-up on your field. We're also getting announcements of some other reprints, so Nefarious Archfiend Eater of Nefariousness, which is not that expensive, the Yugioh over here, and then Inari Fire, as well as Ran Ryu. And Effect Veiler also getting a reprint here, Spellbook of Knowledge, and Unpossessed over here, which is, I think, one of the cards which you want to go ahead and go for. So looking at the other Possessed cards, Unpossessed is quite great. Charm monsters you control can't be destroyed by battle, and if a familiar monster you control attacks, it gains 800 extra bonus attack, and then if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon another spellcaster monster with 1,500 defense from your deck, whose attribute is different from at least one of those destroyed monsters. So basically it wants you to go through all of the colors here. Like I mentioned before, as far as the spiritual cards, we didn't go over the Wind one, because that one is spirit. If I could spell. The Wind one actually has the effect of being able to go ahead and place a monster on, well, it's a target one card your opponent controls and place that card on the bottom of the deck. So it's a bounce back. It's kind of like a variant of Ryza. Overall, I think that we'll probably get the wind one and we'll probably get the water one. I'm curious to know what the heck the water one does, because if it's able to go ahead and actually get rid of a card, that might actually see some play in some other variants of decks, because it's just one spellcaster and then 4 lower, like let's say water, right? And at that point, I would kind of consider trying that out. We'll see where it goes for like turn 1 plays. You just be playing 1, but being able to also add that water art over there would technically let you get rid of 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. And if we think about how good Moulin Glacier is knocking another 2 cards, that's like 4 cards right there. So you can see that the water one, again, we don't know what it does yet, but I'm just like kind of thinking of what it could potentially lead up to. But anyways, guys, those are indeed the new cards. Let me know your thoughts down below on any of them. And if there's any ways to make them broken, definitely let me know via sending in a replay file. But thanks for tuning in, guys. If you are new here, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on that bell so you don't miss out when we get you guys some gameplay of them. Once more of them come out, I think as of right now, we need to get all of the Charmers as well as all of the supports, kind of make it more viable as a deck, versus right now it's just kind of like teching 1 or 2 cards. But, you know, people do figure out crazy combos. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one. I'm signing out. Peace.